Okay guys, good afternoon. So here's the sample questions for the chapter 3 test. So just want to go over the majority of this. Okay, so the first one is about finding the equation of a tangent line to the curve. Okay, so what you need to do, so you want to take the derivative first. So find y prime. So if you take the derivative, this one is 1/2 times 1 plus 4 cosine of x. And this whole quantity to the power of negative 1/2 times the derivative of the inner function, which is the whole thing right here. So then that would be considered 4 times negative sine x, because the derivative of cosine of x. So once you get a derivative, plug in 0 and then find out the slope. So plug in that 0, so we got 1/2 times 1 plus 4 times cosine of 0 to the power of negative 1/2. And then times negative 4 times sine of 0. So sine of 0, that's 0. Doesn't matter what this is. So eventually, so this slope is going to be 0. And it looks like the line for this one is only y equals √5. Okay. So let's check that one more time. So you just plug in 0 here. So this one turns out to be 0. Okay. And then for the next one, so find the maximum height. So that one's actually pretty basic. So basically you take the derivative. So it's 100 minus 40t. Again, we're using the calculus approach. We're not using that negative b over 2a. And then since we do know that the maximum height, so the velocity is going to be considered 0. So we set that equal to 0, and then we solve for t. So we do have 100 divided by 40. So reduce it, so we do have 10 over 4. Reduce that again, we got 5 over 2. So the time it takes for the object to reach the highest position would be 2.5 seconds. So we plug in the time back to the original equations. So s equals 100 times 5 over 2 minus 20 times 5 over 2 quantity squared. So you want to find out what that is. And then the next one is finding the limit. So this one you need to use the properties of the identity. So sine x plus cosine x, nothing we can do about it, so just leave it. Cosine of 2x identity. So we're using that the difference of 2 square formula. So cosine square of x minus sine square of x. And if we try to expand it, so this one is the difference of 2 square. So that one is considered cosine of x minus sine x times cosine of x plus sine x. And this one is the exact same thing, so we can reduce. So that means there's no more restriction. So plug in a number. So we got 1 over cosine of pi over 4. Okay. And then minus sine of pi over 4. Well, it looks like the denominator is going to get cancelled. So this one eventually is getting close to 0. So we say this one is about cos infinity. Okay, let's check that. So it looks like we should have a restriction here, so the top part gets cancelled. But the thing is that this one's getting closer and closer to 0. So eventually it's about infinity. Okay, so now what about for this one here? So this one is implicit differentiation. So using the product rule, we do have 2x times y cubed, and then plus 3y squared times y prime times x squared, and then plus derivative of this, product rule again. So 1 times y plus y prime times x. So that equals derivative on the right hand side, so 1 minus 3y prime. Again, for this one, you want to collect all the y prime terms together. So we do have this one with the y prime term, this one with the y prime term, this one. So just collect them all together. So we took out the greatest common factor, y prime. So we got 3y squared, x squared. This one here, we got x. Take this one from the right hand side to the left hand side. So we do have plus 3. And then the right hand side, we do have 1 minus 2xy cubed. Then minus y, and then solve for y prime. So whatever that we have on this one, divided by this. So it's all that. Divided by 3y squared, x squared, plus x, plus 3. And that would give you the y. So linear approximation. So for the linear approximation, we do have L of x. And we use feather color. This one's almost done. Green. So f prime of a times x minus a plus f of a. So first thing that you want to do, you want to set up the function for this. So let f of x equal square root of x. So that means x is 4.02. A, obviously you want to use 4. So find that derivative, f prime of x. So we got 1/2, x to the power of negative 1/2. Plug in a number, f prime of a. So we do have 1/2, 4 to the power of negative 1/2. So we got 1/2 times 4 to the power of 1/2, which is 1/2 as well. So we got 1/4. And then put everything back to the original equations, so the linear approximation. So for square root of 4.02, so that is about f prime of a, so 1/4. X minus a, so the value of x is 4.02 minus 4, so 0.02 plus f of a, so f of 4, which is 2. So 1/4 times 0.02. You can convert that to a decimal, you can convert that to fractions. Let's use fraction for this, so 2 over 100. Reduce. And then plus 2. So this one, it's 2 and 1 over 200. And then the last part, make sure that you know how to use the Newton's law of cooling. So again, T, that means it's the temperature of it's the initial temperature of the object. Initial temperature of the object. And Ts, which is the surrounding temperature. So like a temperature of the room, surrounding temperature. And then K is a constant, that's always the first thing I'm going to find out. And T is the time. And then capital T and little t. And that is just the final temperature of the object. Okay, so make sure that you know how to use the formula, linear approximation, and also the Newton's law of cooling. Okay, so this one is all what chapter 3 is all about. Okay, so, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching the video today.